The line that separates being good from being too good is a thin one, and it is one that should be avoided at all costs. Being a good person to other people is, on the one hand, a really fulfilling experience. An act of kindness performed with another person, or the performance of good actions with other people, without asking anything in return, will ultimately result in a positive emotional response from us. However, it is also important to establish boundaries in this regard. The fact that we are too giving or overly good might have unintended implications for us. Two of them are that we fail to treat ourselves well and that other people mistreat us. In order to ensure that other people do not take advantage of our generosity and that we are able to give ourselves the priority that we deserve, we are going to learn how to differentiate between times when we should be kind and times when we should not be nice. Putting the interests of others ahead of your own is not the same thing as being polite or helping wherever you can. This is the first thing you need to realize. You cannot mistake the two. If you are able to spend some time and are not hesitant to assist another person, that is fantastic. Try your luck. However, if you consistently ignore your own need in order to serve the requirements of other people, then you are putting yourself in a precarious position. In the event that you are one of those individuals who are willing to accept any compromise and have not acquired the ability to say no when it is necessary to say no, you are making a significant error. A person who asks you for a favor and you are unable to fulfill it due to the fact that you have arrangements with another person or that you have other things to perform will be required to have the ability to comprehend the situation. If, on the other hand, you decide to commit to the favor, you are displaying an attitude toward oneself that is not proper. If you say yes to everything, you will only wind up developing behaviors that are emotionally reliant on other people. When you devote a significant amount of your energy to attempting to make other people happy, you will neglect to give yourself the attention that you deserve, and as a result, you will be seeking to acquire it from other people. To put it another way, since you are always accessible to other people, you naturally believe or build the expectation that you would be reciprocated in the same manner they are available to you. On the other hand, this is not always the case. Moreover, exercise caution, since doing so may only lead to you being emotionally exhausted, which in turn can lead to feelings of tension and anger, as well as health issues. Take care not to be too generous. In most cases, when you are excessively giving, people look up to you as a model of generosity and commend you for having a good heart. However, you should be aware that although some people may see your generosity as a quality that should be respected in you, for others, it may be a sign of weakness that they want to take advantage of. Unfortunately, there are those who are constantly seeking for people who have a really good heart, and if they perceive that they can exploit your compassion for their own profit, they will not hesitate to do so once they realize that they can use it for their own benefit. Even these ill-intentioned intents might seem to be extremely evident, so use caution. A person who only comes to you when they need something from you, and more importantly, when they do so on a regular basis, is a good illustration of this, since they need something from you. It is almost hard to avoid seeing someone of this kind in today's world. However, if you make the decision to establish a boundary whenever you see this sort of conduct, you will find that you have done the finest thing possible, since you will demonstrate to the person that his strategy is not successful. If you want to avoid becoming one of those people who are too kind, who strive to avoid any confrontation that comes their way, and who just won't do anything if they don't agree with anything, you should avoid individuals like that. It is important to avoid becoming one of those individuals who choose to remain silent, regardless of whether or not they are influenced by the requests that others make of them. Whenever you are forced to tackle anything that causes you to feel uneasy, you should do so. The act of repressing your sentiments and, as a consequence, your happiness, is negatively impacted when you choose to keep quiet or say nothing out of fear of causing controversy. Try not to do this. Engage in confrontation when you believe it is required. A negative connotation should not be attached to conflict. You will achieve good outcomes if you make the decision to carry out the task in a manner that is both productive and courteous. It is important to keep in mind that life is too short to not allow yourself to feel good about yourself or to be surrounded by people who do not appreciate you. It makes sure that you constantly convey how you feel, but do it in a manner that is always polite. Additionally, you should not be concerned, since there may be instances in which you will lose a few of your friendships. But there will also be those who value your honesty and giving. There is a path to finding the right person, in which we can find healthy partners, but in which we are also exposed to the risk of having a toxic relationship, a type of relationship that does not appear without warning and that can involve us almost without us realizing it. It is estimated that approximately 7% of the world's population actually lives in a couple at the present time. The fact of the matter is, however, that there is a sequence of symptoms that lie behind it, and we need to be able to identify them in order to be able to break out of them, or even to find a way to change them into a healthy relationship. The so-called nice guy syndrome is a form of behavior that occurs in one of the partners and is defined by an excessive amount of compassion and goodwill. However, behind it may be hidden a variety of poisonous interests, or even led to conflict within the marriage. This is the case in this particular scenario. We explain what it is and how you can figure out what it is. Being too nice might be detrimental to your health, because feeling good and preparing yourself for what you have to face predisposes you to constantly carry the ataraxia, or indifference to destiny, with integrity and bravery. The Stoics made it a point to put aside your own self when you are attentive to other people. This was something that the Stoics considered to be of the utmost significance. There are many different sorts of individuals, some of whom, with their assistance, make our way easier, while others, like stones on the road, provide obstacles that make our journey more difficult. Every single one of us makes a decision about who is at our side and to whom we place boundaries in order to prevent obstacles. The question is, have you ever pondered the reasons for the existence of those who are always eager to assist you, and what drives them to do so, even when you are not requesting their assistance? These are the individuals that uphold the principle of compassion and are always eager to provide a helping hand to those in need. If we go beyond the boundaries of kindness and behave in a nice manner at all times, we may assume that kindness is always good, since it contributes to the maintenance of our well-being. Nevertheless, this is not the case. This is an example of poisonous compassion, which is wonderful because it allows us to forget about ourselves in order to focus on the needs of other people. There are times when we are so kind that we forget about ourselves and allow others to exert their dominance over us. As a result of our mentality that we must constantly be good, we start to make ourselves invisible. On occasion, we are so focused on helping other people that we forget to give ourselves a second thought. Take into consideration the common scenario in which a mother is so concerned about the well-being of her children that she forgets her own requirements and does all in her power to ensure their happiness. This does not imply that doing anything for the other person is the incorrect thing to do. Nevertheless, concentrating only on them is. Then, there are circumstances in which we want to make other people happy, either because they beg us for assistance or because we think that they need our assistance without even asking for it, and we agree to do whatever it takes to make them feel good. Whether you want to believe it or not, this excessive act of kindness may become unsettling, since there are occasions when we do not let the other person to achieve what they want, because we are able to finish ahead of them. After that, we tend to preoccupy ourselves with what we believe the other person need, to the exclusion of our own requirements. This manner, we blend, and we become invisible as a result of the activities that we bring about. Because we are always aware of the other, we place ourselves in the background. It is a method of ignoring us and diminishing the significance of our significance. Kindness that is harmful to both ourselves and the environment creates a web of challenges for both of us. It is important that you pay attention to the following drawbacks so that you do not lose who you are by being too kind and losing the ability to exercise self-control over your own thoughts. Insecurity is a problem. Low self-esteem is a problem. Less ability to know oneself. Relationships that are also less genuine. It is the feedback of guilt. There is a growing dependence in interpersonal connections. There is a rise in anxiousness. It is possible that the demand for acceptance from other people will rise at all times. Just a few of the many drawbacks associated with poisonous compassion are listed below. We forget about ourselves, our sense of self-worth drops, and we develop relationships that might cause us to suffer because we are constantly waiting for what the other person wants. It is like a vicious loop in which we forget about ourselves. Then, when the other is not around, we are at a loss for what to do, since we always act for him, just as if he becomes furious. This is because we are not used to thinking about us, and when the other is not accessible, we start to find it difficult to be with us. Now, despite the fact that excessive kindness may become a part of us, there are methods to begin being kind in a healthy manner so that we can give ourselves the value that we deserve and establish connections that are more genuine and fluid. Boundaries. Communicate to others how far they can go with you. For example, you should let them know the things that concern you, the things that you wouldn't do, the things that make you uncomfortable, for example. People will have a better understanding of what they can and cannot ask for from you in this manner. Say goodbye to feelings of guilt. There are occasions when you have to decline an offer. Put an end to the guilt you feel over not performing a favor for other people or not being available for them round the clock. The fact that you do not have to do it does not imply that you cease being polite. Rather, it indicates that you feel that you are valuable in your own right. A list of your priorities should be compiled. You may continue to be there for other people, but you should not neglect yourself in the process. You need to get yourself organized and determine what aspects of your life are the most important so that you can determine how much time you have available for other people and when you will be able to be there for them. You will be able to know what you desire if you are familiar with yourself. After that, it will be much simpler for you to establish priorities and limitations for other people, and you will have a deeper understanding of your own emotions and ideas. Additionally, you will be able to comprehend the reasons why it is challenging for you to pay attention to yourself. Clearly, it is all about showing concern for you, as you can see. You won't have to worry about it being too difficult, since if you already know how to treat other people extremely well, you can absolutely do the same thing with yourself. Make sure you don't forget that compassion is essential, but only in the appropriate proportions. Being extremely friendly to other people requires us to place ourselves in a position of subordination. Now, in order to show the appropriate level of compassion, you need to have faith in and respect for yourself. It is only when you have a healthy appreciation for yourself and are aware of how significant you are that you will realize that no one is superior to you. Additionally, it is important to bear in mind that even if your intentions are the most charitable, there are certain people who may take advantage of your excessive generosity. This is because they are aware that they will get what they want, since you always say yes. Pay attention to yourself, establish priorities, and establish boundaries. Your strength is inside you. An attitude like this is referred to as the nice guy syndrome by some professionals. There is a possibility that the nice man syndrome is a condition that is just associated with being a good person. However, the fact is that it extends far beyond than that. The nice guy syndrome is characterized by individuals who are unable to say no very often, who are constantly cultivating a reputation as good people, but who frequently do this not because of their personality type, but because they are looking for something in return and associate that good behavior with a way to get what they are looking for. This is an attempt at manipulation in which the sufferer tries to get everything they want, whether it be to gain control, to get favors, or to get closer to a person who is of interest to them. People who suffer from it are typically characterized by being attentive, kind, and helpful with their partner, with their friends, and with everyone else they meet. This is something that, at first glance, may appear to be positive. However, it can lead these individuals to believe that their partner owes them everything, including their interest, love, and sex, because of the way they behave. If they do not get it, they will have a sense of being tricked, since they will not be rewarded for their generosity because they believe they are deserving of it. It is at this point that their perspective on their spouse undergoes a profound shift, even reaching a point where they become antagonistic. It is exactly because of this objective of constantly receiving something in return from their spouses that this has occurred. You may find out whether you are becoming the pleasant person who can become bothersome in practically every area by using the various methods that are available. Therefore, the nice guy syndrome is a behavioral dynamic that occurs in the relationship of a pair in which one partner has a tendency to overindulge, avoid confrontation, and prioritize the wants and goals of the other person over his or her own. Stoicism holds that the most essential thing is the self, and that one should have the ability to learn how to dedicate time to oneself. Consequently, putting aside an excessive amount of kindness and being conscious of the requirements of other people will provide us with the opportunity to take care of our inner selves, allowing us the opportunity to engage in introspection, meditate, and get to know ourselves. Recognizing this syndrome can be essential and fundamental in order to address and maintain a healthy relationship situation. As a result, the following are some symptoms that may point to the existence of this illness in your partner. Overindulgence occurs when a person makes a concerted effort to keep their spouse happy at all times, even if doing so requires them to forego their own hobbies, wants, or requirements. Avoidance of conflict. The individual refrains from expressing his or her ideas or differences in order to avoid any form of conflict or confrontation. Having difficulty establishing boundaries. Has a tendency to give in easily to the demands of the partner without establishing limits that are both obvious and healthy. Low self-esteem. May have low self-esteem and seek validation via the acceptance and approval of their spouse. The fear of disapproval is the worry that his spouse will disapprove of him or leave him if he does not live up to the standards that they have set for him. An excessive amount of sacrifice. He is prepared to make significant personal or professional sacrifices in order to fulfill the requirements of his spouse. Imbalanced relationship. The relationship may be imbalanced, with one person taking on the role of the dominating person and the other person taking on the part of the obedient good guy. Due to a lack of autonomy, people may have difficulties making choices on their own and believing in their own capabilities. The huge difference of the nice guy syndrome becomes problematic when it leads to an imbalance in the relationship and produces discomfort or unhappiness in either party. It is crucial to note that while some individuals may become more accommodating or empathic in nature, the big difference of the nice guy syndrome becomes problematic when it affects the connection. Being the good man in a relationship comes with it a number of irritating repercussions that might negatively impact the relationship. There is a wide range of potential outcomes that might result from the nice guy syndrome, but the majority of them are negative for the relationship. When these dynamics become problematic and negatively affect the quality of life of both parties, it is essential to address the issue and look for more balanced and healthy ways to take care of each other. This is the reason why this is the case, despite the fact that some people may find satisfaction in giving and caring for their partner. This is a list of potential repercussions that it may have on the couple. It is possible that the member who takes on the position of the good guy may start to experience feelings of anger and irritation because they are always giving in to their partner's demands and goals without taking into consideration their own. Due to the fact that this is something that might lead to the accumulation of bad feelings, the relationship will ultimately suffer as a result. A partnership in which one person constantly makes sacrifices for the benefit of the other might become unequal and imbalanced if the parties involved do not strike a balance between their duties. This has the potential to escalate tensions and give rise to a feeling of unfairness inside the partnership. Loss of individual identity. The good guy may lose his sense of himself and autonomy if he consistently prioritizes the wants of his partner above his own needs. The result of this might be an unhealthy emotional reliance, as well as a feeling of loss of one's own identity. Ineffective communication. Avoidance of confrontation and failure to articulate personal wants or concerns might be factors that contribute to ineffective communication in a partnership. It may be challenging to find solutions to problems and to understand each other when there is a lack of honesty and transparency. A lack of emotional intimacy may be a barrier to the development of true emotional intimacy between a relationship. This can be caused by overcompensation as well as a lack of emotional honesty. It is possible for the good man to become emotionally reliant on his spouse, always looking for acceptance and validation from outside sources, which may lead to stagnation and a lack of progress. The disintegration of the relationship. If the dynamics of the partnership do not alter and the relationship continues to be imbalanced, this may lead to the couple breaking up, as the unhappiness and discomfort that they are experiencing may become unsustainable over the course of time. Combating the nice guy syndrome in a relationship may seem to be a challenging task, but it is not impossible. Here are some strategies that may help you conquer this particular phenomenon. Transparent communication, the establishment of boundaries, the cultivation of empathy, the promotion of independence, the acquisition of skills to constructively handle conflict, the practice of self-care, and, if required, the seeking of professional help from specialists are all vital components in the process of overcoming it. As long as both partners are determined to working together to develop a relationship that is more balanced and enjoyable, it is feasible to change these established relationship dynamics. However, this process may take some time and effort, depending on the circumstances. Building a connection that is founded on mutual respect, equality, and emotional support is the objective of this endeavor. The adage that nice guys always end up being last in everything is an expression that you have undoubtedly heard before. The fact that you cease being good to yourself when you start being nice to other people makes this situation unfair. In this section, we will provide you with some advice on how to be kind to other people while still cherishing who you are as an individual. At some time in our lives, every one of us has experienced the pressure that comes with having a good man around. It is now clear to you why, if you are required to make restitution for the deeds you have done. You should have faith that if you are good and kind to others, you will get pleasure, love, and satisfaction in return. Give females they don't know much about the opportunity to do things they typically wouldn't do for them. In order to avoid causing conflict with ladies, you should refrain from expressing your thoughts and make every effort to satisfy them in every way. You should make an effort to solve their issues and look after them. They cover their shortcomings and blunders in order to get praise from other people. They have a tendency to analyze rather than feel something, and they constantly want to do what is right. Individuals who struggle to prioritize their needs and who are emotionally dependent on their relationship fall into this category. When you stop agreeing with everything that other people do and say, you need to start thinking for yourself and giving your own thoughts. Fights are not always the result of disputes. Rather, it is possible to really come to know individuals via the process of disagreeing over certain subjects. Stop giving in to the demands of other people, and don't be so cowardly as to allow them to treat you like a slave. You have to find a way to accomplish your own objectives while also assisting other people, all without putting your own ambitions on the back burner. If you are in a scenario where you feel comfortable refusing anything, you should avoid being involved in relationships in which you just give and get nothing in return. You should also learn how to say no. People that are manipulative will attempt to make you feel bad, and you need to learn to spot them in order to avoid being taken advantage of. When you want to make your worries known, you should put into practice a tranquil approach. To have relationships that are stable and joyful, it is vital to master communication skills in order to handle certain topics that are often ignored. This is because there are some conflicts in life that need to be addressed and resolved in order to have these partnerships. It is important to establish your boundaries, to not allow people to disregard or dismiss you, to stand up for your views and opinions, to avoid being a coward, and to avoid allowing others to walk all over you. Take things gently and make sure to be patient with both yourself and other people. Do not ask for tasks that you are unable to do, and do not form an attachment to another person too early. Whenever you are in connection to your other co-workers, you always offer to assist them, and you work extra without anybody asking you to. By acting in this manner, you are only demonstrating that your time is not valued with your actions. In order to strike a balance between the two, here are some suggestions. If your manager wants you to do more work because you are better at it than other people, then you should ask for a raise or a promotion. Request that your manager employ more personnel to cover those additional hours, or offer to work shifts with other people. Do not accept it. Always ask someone else to help you if you have too much load, and make it known so that they do not leave everything in your hands. There are many individuals who take advantage of you and leave all the heavy work to you without asking you to do it. This will continue until the heavy workload decreases. If you are first beginning a relationship with someone, you should not instantly display your passion for them by giving them costly meals, flowers, plush animals, jewelry, or other expensive items. You should save your presents for someone you already know and who deserve them the most. Rather than constantly being the one to take the initiative, you should anticipate that they will sometimes demonstrate interest in the topic. Because of this, you will never know whether the person you are with is really interested in being with you. Keep sharing with your friends and following your interests even when you are dating someone. Don't let your partner consume your life. Remember that you don't need anyone to be happy. Don't let your happiness depend on others, as you will give them the power and look like a needy and weak person. You should base your self-esteem on your own efforts and not on what others perceive of you. You can be a gentleman without getting trampled by other people. You can be nice without becoming ASF, and you can be humble without thinking less of yourself. Continue to be good. Everything can be achieving a balance. Work on your confidence and boldness. Do not put anyone on a pedestal. You can end up creating unrealistic expectations. Do not obsess that this person is almost a saint who comes from heaven. We are human beings with flaws and virtues. Try to find ways to develop your confidence in relation to other people, such as attending the drama club. The best actors in the world started that way. Be careful with misunderstanding the situation and start to treat others badly and stop helping them. You must find the balance between being good and being clear with what you want. Do not stop abruptly to be a good guy. People who know you may doubt, or even worse, think you have psychological problems. Remember that for a Stoic, nothing is good or bad. The important thing is not what happens to us because it is inevitable, but the way we have to interpret and deal with each situation. The Stoics believed that life was difficult and draining, so they devised rules to ensure that one remained on the correct route without deviating to any extremes, but rather remained in the proper center. This is the path that provides the mental and spiritual equilibrium that will take one to the peace of mind that one so desperately seeks. In conclusion, it is important to keep in mind that you should not exceed the boundaries, as extremes are always negative and may rob you of your serenity. Therefore, you should strive to be nice and not too good. This will allow you to be seen as someone who is genuine, and you will be able to maintain relationships with people who are really worth it.